Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by the one, who's that on presentation there? I can't see. Is that Spurs? Righteous Force, Ranty, Paul, Arwin, and 10th Man in G+. Very good to have you one and all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My microphone working all right, yeah?
Yeah. Hey, Nathan.
You need to sort your watch page out, Nath.
Right.
Hi.
Yeah, you weren't displaying when you were talking before.
Oh, intentionally, I look terrible. That's why there's I'm not on camera because I feel.
I just
I'm
wanted
rough.
to ask, when did you turn into that beautiful woman?
Yeah, that's not me. Yeah, I just don't look.
I
very
can
good.
vouch for that. I've met Nathan in real.
Yeah, it's definitely not me. And we're also joined by a whole bunch of people in Discord, so I haven't taken anybody off mute. I don't know if there's a mod in there. If not, we're not going to hear much from them.
I'll get at it.
Well, welcome anyway. Hello, everyone in Discord. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from Corona del Mar.
Not from the Earth-based varieties.
Nope.
Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No axis.
No.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
What?
What is
Gravity.
that?
Good morning,
Scientific
peeps.
evidence? Hey, Chocolate.
Morning.
Any scientific evidence of
Scientific
gravity?
evidence of a force or a non-force? If it was a non-force, then how do you get scientific evidence for it?
That's not my problem.
Just-
I'm not
just
making
think
the
about
claim. I don't care. Just give it me. Have you got any? Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No,
Prove it's something you can actually have a distance to. Actual distance, that is.
I think they're working on it. Or somebody is.
Did you want to add something, Buster, or just your background noise?
Oh, no thanks.
Try and get yourself on mute. We can just hear your background noise. Thanks.
Sorry.
That's okay. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
What is the sun?
I don't know. I've no idea.
Oh, okay, then no then.
No? I thought that was going
Nope.
to generate a bit more interest. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
only in comic books.
Hey, don't forget encyclopedias.
Encyclopedias.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Oh, it's in their model.
No, none of that.
Any evidence of any viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, astrophysics, or cosmology?
Not by Danny Faulkner. An astronomer who doesn't know what science is.
Yeah, it's had the good graces to seemingly disappear. Hold on, Earth-shaped investigator's flashing away. Go ahead, Earth-shaped investigator.
Yeah, moon rocks, right? So we found a moon rock here, and it was from the moon. So the moon came from the Earth when it was hit by something, and it killed the dinosaurs. That's as close as they get to physical evidence.
A lovely story.
Right, the petrified wood, right?
And how did
So
they
are you
prove
saying
that?
that the petrified
What's
wood
the-
came
what's their
from
method?
Earth?
No,
Then
no.
it was
Owen.
on the moon, and then they took
Yeah,
it back
because
from the moon to Earth.
No, they verified it by comparing it to the ones that they know fell from the moon that are in Antarctica. So, yeah.
And
It's not like they could have come from
How
the...
do they prove that?
Well, because you couldn't have the moon rocks that come from the moon be the same as the moon rocks that are on Earth, because obviously the moon rocks that are on Earth have come from the moon, and we know they have. Therefore, the fact that they're the same as the moon rocks we know have come from the moon means the ones that came from the moon that they said came from the moon came from the moon. It's not circular reasoning or anything.
So can we conclude from this that the moon is on Earth?
No, just that you can find moon rocks lying around to compare if you want to compare what a moon rock's like. You know, occasionally moon rocks come our way, and therefore we can compare what moon rocks should be like, and we know because we've got them on Earth. It doesn't mean that they've come from Earth, it just means that we can verify what they say moon rocks are based on what the moon rocks on Earth are like, obviously.
And we knew what moon rocks were like before we went to the moon.
Yeah, because the ones on Earth.
Well, maybe some
'cause
of
the
the
moon came
gravity
from,
from
the
Earth
Earth.
pulled on the moon, and then rocks got transferred from the moon to Earth over the course of history. You know?
Yeah, but if the
If
moon
the
is a
moon
piece of
pulled on the
Earth,
water for
Every
the tide,
bacteria and all
then
that.
maybe the other way around pulled some rocks from the surface of the moon back to Earth.
yeah,
That
but
would make sense.
if the moon is a broken off piece of Earth, then the moon is Earth. So the moon rock is actually Earth rock. The petrified wood is just an old tree.
I really like their origin story for the moon. With Thea coming in and smashing into Earth at a glancing blow. The remnants coalescing into what we now see as the moon. Depositing its molten iron core as it smashes into Earth. It's all incredible stuff.
But does the moon then have some kind of
Yeah,
molten
you know.
iron core? Because if it was a smashed piece of the Earth partially forming, then how would it settle as a ball of dust like that
No. Just, you
without
don't
any
understand.
fluidity inside? Wouldn't it
Right,
just be a broken off piece of Earth and always look like that?
It's great fun being a baller. You don't understand. Right, so what actually happened was a secondary planet. A secondary planet. Right, once upon a time, in a galaxy not so far away, this planet's on a similar orbit, presupposed around Sun, that we see going over our heads here from Earth. Now, that planet is just so happens to be on a terrible, terrible path in its life, because eventually it's going to smash into Earth. And when it does, it smashes into it at such an angle that it doesn't only hit Earth and not destroy it and destroy itself, but it also deposits its molten iron core. So essentially, the reason we've got this oversized, not yet cooled down in the mathematics of their very long time period, molten iron core, the reason we've got that is because we've got two. We've got like a twofer. One from another planet that smashed into us, and all of the leftovers, the crap, just kind of whirled around and then coalesced to make the moon. It all makes perfect sense.
So one planet basically impregnated the other.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It basically shit its molten iron core into ours, and then the leftovers became the moon. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. And
So
we know
Mother
it
Earth is
because they made it
pregnant.
all up themselves.
I got a question for you, Nathan. How do you science the past? Can you help me out? It sounds like a good story, but it doesn't sound like science.
Oh,
to me.
sorry. That's very easy to do. My bad. I should have clarified that at the beginning of my story. Okay, children. Now it's time for some science. So there's this planet called Thea. There you go. Is that better?
But so how did you science this planet?
Oh,
Come
I
on,
just,
you're still. I don't
I
get
just
it.
added the word science on it. If I can take that as far as you like. If you want, I can put together some consensus and call that science, or I can write it in a book with science on the title and call it science that way. But that's basically all I'm going to do.
Yeah,
I'm
or
going to
you-
tell the same story, but just say science along the way.
But my fifth grade class said that's not science. You have to have an experiment, something about a hypothesis, independent and dependent variable.
No, Paul. You
I'm
just have to
sorry,
say.
it's inconsistent.
You just have to say scientists say XYZ. So scientists say the moon came from this. Scientists say 5 billion years or 5 trillion years. That's all you need to say nowadays. Scientists say. Scientists believe in climate change. Most scientists believe, blah, 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 on and on.
So why doesn't anybody ask what was the last scientific experiment these scientists that say these things have done?
You
And
know,
what was it?
you guys, I've got to stop you, right? You clearly haven't had science dumbed down in the correct way. Now, I recommend you all go and speak to a complete retard called Mick West, who will obfuscate the point about actual science and delude you into believing that pseudoscience is worthy of dumbing down and calling science. So just go and speak to Mick West. He'll put you in the right direction, and at the end of your time with him, you will believe that complete pseudoscience, bullshit, made-up stories and mathematics are in fact cause and effect reasoning based on hypothesis. So, you know, I'm just going to blur those lines for the rest of this show because I'm ill. And it's good fun being a baller.
So that's
Wait, Mick West is awesome because he says you don't need variables and things like that to conduct an experiment.
Exactly! It's chocolate's got it. You see? You see? You just need to speak to Mick West, and your 5th grade nonsense, that can be, you know, kicked out the door without any problem at all. See?
Well,
I'm
wait a minute,
already on the right
wait a
track with Mick West. He's saying you don't even need variables, Paul.
Well, wait a minute, though. He did prove that gas does expand into the void, didn't he? I saw this simulator that proved that.
Yeah,
So I guess we should go to him. Yeah, we should.
Not all sources are always right. He's only 99% right. And, you know, I know his simulator says the gas would fill the space, but not everyone's always right all the time, are they? So, you know, that simulator doesn't mean anything.
That was that 1%.
Yeah, that's
where you
1%
fucked
wrong.
up.
The gas wouldn't fill the space, Paul. So no. Nuh-uh.
Hang on, he's only 99% right. Does that mean he can sort of like wiggle it a little bit, include a bit of extra refraction so he gets 100% right?
Look, let's just move past this, eh? Mick West, go to him if you want pseudoscience justification. Beyond that, I don't endorse him.
So based on the physical law of ideal Mickwestian gas, I can make correlations and I can call it science.
Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, I like that too. So I will draw a correlation between things that I've seen or modelled and say that's reality. And I'll call it science, and therefore it's science. This is really perfectly reasonable. I'm sure you'll all agree.
Because correlation is causation.
Exactly.
Yay.
See, chocolate's
Wow.
getting it. Chocolate's on form.
Wow. I think now I understand how the Earth is a ball.
Yeah, you just have to understand that pseudoscience is science. And then any story I tell you without variables or any empirical data, and called science, I might add, don't forget that, and not only called science, communicated you by a science communicator, therefore you know it's legit, right? So therefore, you know, everything's sweet, right? Everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah, all praise Mick West. Not.
Anthony's joined. Rantis here, Nathan's here. So, can you share my screen there, Nathan?
There was just one more housekeeping question, coincidentally, as you're on the mic, Spurs. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
Well,
No.
one of these questions actually tries to address that, actually. But, I mean, obviously, you know,
Lower my
this is,
pitch now. You just want me to share your screen?
I want to go through the questions, yes.
Okay, not with
The
me. you can't.
container has to be there in order for gas pressure to manifest.
Well, we can go to that one. It's down here somewhere. I'll have a look for it. This is what they...
Wait, we need a container now for gas? I mean, we're not playing pretend anymore?
It's not. I'm not. It's not a pressure. This is what was sent to me by Ball Earthers, who say that we can't answer. And I just replied, well, neither can you. But I thought it might be interesting for us to tackle some of these things like maps and models. I've already explained. We've explained that's the reification. Yeah. Determinant distance of the sun. We're asking the same thing between 2 points. But let me go down here.
Spurs, that first one, just go to that very top one. Can we see their working model or map, please?
Yeah, I want to try and answer these in like short segments, 10, 15 seconds. There's so many.
No, I want to drag this out to Spurs. You've just nominated yourself terribly. But on the other hand, so is Anthony. Anthony, that was an excellent point that you've just turned around. Any chance you can type ours out as we go?
What, as in the rebuttals?
Yeah, the rebuttals. Yeah. Moreover, just as opposed to rebuttals, we've done that. We've done that to death. In fact, we've done this several times. Right, this is not a new game we're playing. I'm saying, if you can come up with the alternative questions, that's what these are, right? They're alternatives to our housekeeping questions. Well, we've already got our housekeeping questions. That much is covered. But as you say, when we're being asked for a working model, yeah, well, I think that's worthy of a question that we could just play straight back at them and go, well, we didn't actually claim we had a model, because models are pseudoscience. They're offered up when you have a limitation on a hypothesis. Back to talking about real science now, not talking about Midwest science. Sorry for anyone who liked that little interlude where I went all high-pitched. Yeah, that's all gone now. You have to go to actual fundies like Midwest for genuine pseudoscience bullshit assertions. Anyway, I'm just thinking we could get some of them down. Like, any chance of your map or model showing to be working?
Yeah, let's have a look at that working model that puts gas pressure next to a vacuum, right, without some kind of membrane. Let's see how that one works, because drawing it doesn't demonstrate it as it working. Keyword being working, because we know that doesn't work because it immediately fills into the vacuum.
Now, Anthony, don't you know that the vacuum and differential pressure are the same thing? Come on. So I can have a differential pressure, come on.
Yeah, but you can't have the magnitude that they've got, 14.7 next to 0, right? Or close to 0. You can't have that magnitude. You can have minor fluctuations here and there, but you can't have the magnitude that they've got, and that's the issue. But they say, well, nobody says that there's a 14.7 next to the vacuum space. Yeah, you do, because your atmosphere is touching the vacuum of space at all points, because there's no cohesive bond between any of them. But they just ignore that, and I'm like, oh, this is just ridiculous. I hate this topic. They're just so dishonest.
I said to George, we all know George, what's your explanation for Venus's phases? And he puts it down to the Earth's tilt. Again, they are it's hilarious. I went through them with them, and everything was just a presupposition. They were like, well, the Earth does this, the Earth does that, without even demonstrating, the prior.
Yeah, but did they say science?
Yeah, they're not bringing any science.
No, but you don't need to. Just say science when you're pointing out the presupposition that you're going to be asserting and making sure that you abide by.
Can you share my screen for just a second, Nate?
Well, hold on. Spurs is right in the middle of something. I can, but just not this second.
Sorry, it's about this one point, that's all.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I'll take it all back round to yes. Of course you can. Go ahead, you're on screen.
Right, no worries. Because they said, have you got a working model? Well, the only person to ever try and circumnavigate Antarctica was Captain Cook back in the 1700s. Now, I've put a little line around here as to the circumference of Antarctica. Today, it reads about 11,000 miles. Back then, it was supposed to be 12,000 miles. Well, guess what? Captain Cook, he tried to circumnavigate this region here, and he traveled 60,000 miles. And he still didn't get around Antarctica. So when they can come back and tell us how that is possible on a globe Earth like this, then they can have a working model.
Okay. So, have you verified
I want to
this?
add something to that model as well.
I know your point was about models. Just one sec. How do you know that about Captain Cook?
It's down in his diaries, isn't it?
So from Cook's diaries?
Yeah.
Okay.
No relation, by the way. No relation.
No relation.
I mean, it's dead interesting. When you ask, if you were to get a ball...
Sorry, I'm really sorry, Spurs. Go ahead. Was that someone from Discord? I think it might have been Babs. Yeah. Go ahead, Babs.
That was me. I also wanted to point out on the Glober model,
the water is painted on to the ball. They can never show you like real water sticking to a ball. It's always painted on.
Yeah, it is. We saw a massive one at the Space Center in wherever the hell it is. And yeah, it's just painted on. You're not ever going to show water sticking to a ball. You're never going to show... Yeah, show me a model of a gas pressure gradient in a vacuum. Show me that modelled.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not trying. What I'm trying to say. Let's say we know the Earth is flat. We agree. These questions, Nathan, Ranty, Anthony, Arwin, and Righteous, Paul, Chocolate.
The one. Oh my God.
One. Yes, the one. Yes, I just see that. So, do we want to answer these questions on a flat Earth? Let's just say for education purposes. Let's just say for knowledge purposes. Do we want to know what powers the stars and the sun? Do we want to know the distance? Do we want to know why these things happen? Or are we just like...
No, we just want proof of curvature. That's it. Give us proof of curvature. Nothing more. Can't be that difficult.
No, but I'm just saying in terms of, as flat earthers, would we ask these questions generally?
Oh, did you see that there? Just scroll back up a bit, Spurs. Or down, whichever way you were just at before.
Where is it? Up a bit, yeah?
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
It says, no idea why the Humber Bridge, the Varanazzo Narrows Bridge, are built to account for Earth's curvature. I'd love to see the evidence to support that assertion. This is nonsense.
It is. It's I mean, again, if you get any baller to answer these, they'll just presuppose, their entire answer.
Yeah, no explanation as to why the sun's ground speed at June and December solstices are equal. Yeah, there is. Just because they're ignorant and don't understand it or know it doesn't mean that there is none. There is. It's called the ecliptic plane of the sun. That it moves around an ecliptic path. Whose questions are these? Where have these come from?
So on one of my videos, he wrote all this out. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, left a comment on one of my videos.
Who?
And about the maps. The maps all flat. All maps are flat Earth maps. By the way.
Yeah, all maps are flat Earth maps.
Yeah, from Land Navigation Guide, the Military Grid Reference System is a geographic coordinate system that comes from the Universal Transverse Mercator Grid System, which is based on a flat world, not a sphere. It's in live stream and in Master Bees.
What's this all about?
There's no point in doing this because they'll just ignore and deny everything that we say anyway. So there really is no point.
I agree. I mean, I've spoke to George, and then when I realised, I was like, I know what they're going to say. They should say this is all nonsense. Like the way George was answering, he says, "Oh, the Earth is tilted." Like, I'm George. How do you know the Earth is tilted? Oh, that's just what they presuppose.
When they say it's tilted, you mean 66.6 degrees off horizontal?
Yeah, that's how we explain the phases of Venus or something like this.
We're bowing to the sun.
Now they want
How is that possible?
This is one that I think really bugs them. Is why people would lie, keep it a lie. Nations, they think somebody would whistleblow at some point.
Well, there are whistleblowers, but they get look at who's that whistleblower that was I can't even think of his name now. The one that Bob Nodell refers to. Not Lydia van der Slooten, the bloke. I can't remember his name now. He was a whistleblower, and he ruined
Edward Snowden.
The guy that was studying the sun.
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody was studying the sun, and I can't remember his name now. But he started saying things that they didn't like, and
right, Cox. Yeah, something Cox.
No, I'll tell you in a second.
While you're trying to remember the name, I'll shout out a few super chats. So shout out to Michael Miyashiro. Get that right, sorry. Arwin has Twitter nightmares, including everything else limiting him saying many, many words. Okay, don't understand. But thank you very much for the super chat, Michael. Really appreciate your support. Also, shout out to Rakia Life, who says, now I understand why my parents said they had to walk uphill both ways to school. Earth curve. Right. Shout out to Rakia Life. Thank you very much for the super chat. And also, Earth is seriously flat. Thank you for destroying the globe zombie animal mind. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for all the super chats.
From Zach in the chat, he says, is it Eric Dollard?
Yes, Dollard.
Yes, this guy.
So there are scientists that have been whistleblower and they've had their whole careers ruined. There's also people that have not whistleblowed but have been backpedaling against the official position and ended up accidentally getting killed in a light aircraft accident. And they all seem to, they're really unreliable, these light aircrafts, aren't they? They say it's the most reliable form of transport, but a lot of certain types of people always seem to die in them. It's bizarre.
And like people who got the cure for cancer just suddenly die.
Yeah, and if you have certain types of semi-transistors, and you end up on a plane with a lot of other people with all the same common interest, that guess what's going to happen to that plane?
Yep, suddenly crash. It's like me. I experience internet problems only when I'm on the show.
There's no point in addressing these people. At the end of the day, no matter what we say, they'll just dismiss it with nah. But until they can demonstrate gas pressure, 14.7 in a gradient next to a vacuum, then there's no conversation to have because it doesn't happen. I just can't understand how they can deny and ignore that. It's like the biggest one against them, and they'll just ignore it.
I think it's the godlike complex. Again, they're asking why. A lot of these are why questions. How they're not like things you can do scientifically. So a lot of these things you could be satisfied just not knowing. You'll never find out. You're not going to lose sleep over it. But they seem to be desperate to figure out, where we are, who we are, and why we're here. So I think that's the problem. It's that complex, that God, that egotistical. I want to know everything. I will know everything. I think that's what's stopping them.
That ballers don't want to know that.
Hold on, can I just give kudos?
No, they don't.
Kudos, hold on. Kudos, did you just say it's not a how-why question, it's outside the purview of science? Albeit with a little peppering of finesse of language from me, but is that pretty much what you just said, Spurs?
Yeah, they're trying to answer why questions and not like science. These are all philosophy. They're all saying, well, why is this? Why is that? And how would you test these things that they're asking?
It's a proud day for me, Spurs.
That's what they're asking. That's what we're asking. That's what we're looking at here.
My point was
why
how-why questions outside the limitations, if you will, of science. You're trying to establish cause and effect relationships with science. That's what it's for. Not answer how-why questions. But just nice to hear you say
how-why
that.
questions are cause and effect questions.
Say again?
How-why questions
why is some spots rotate in opposite directions?
What is question?
Oh, kudos retracted. I blame me being ill.
Why?
Yeah,
why
what is questions are outside the remit of science.
Science answers why.
No, kudos has been retracted.
On
Let's
what
move
the
past
question...
this quickly, Spurs. It's looked bad on you and me. It's what is, not how, why.
God.
Go on, QE.
Depends on what the why question is. Give us an example.
So they're asking, why are they lying? Can science answer why are these people lying?
Number one, science doesn't answer. It doesn't have lips or vocal cords, right? Why do people do things? Is the acme of foolishness, right?
Because he asked,
why?
He says, why physicists working on LIGO, the gravity wave detector, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. He's asking why.
Because they're not physicists, for one.
I'll show my screen.
LIGO. Go ahead.
These are not my questions. I'm just saying I'm showing Nathan these questions here, and a lot of them are just he's wondering. Oh, some confused.
Just ask the questions, not the color commentary with them. We had the first question, right? Models or working models or maps. Number one, models are reification fallacies. There's no such thing as a working model in science. Number two, maps. All maps are flat Earth maps. Next question.
Why Google Earth does not publish its underlying flat Earth model that allows it to project the Earth as a globe? Is it just why? He wants to know why the sun rises due east for everyone on the Earth on the equinox. Why?
Oh my God. Really, due east. They need to define that. As in asmus? And that's incorrect.
It doesn't even do it anyway. Cite them back, Cara Diane. She demonstrated using stellarium, her chosen weapon of attack, that at the summer solstice and the winter solstice, the sun did not rise due east on the day in question at all four corners, like she claimed. It was out by a degree and a half. That's a problem for them because it's got to be due east for them, and it doesn't do it.
Yeah, and Jaron exposed this in 2015. I forgot, their model's not Google Earth, right? He showed using back asmus and stuff that it doesn't work. So, next question.
Oh, I'll be back in a sec. I have to reboot.
No worries, I can shout out a couple of super chats while you're doing that. So, shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat, who said, it's gone past me now, but something like the globe zombies. Let's go and read it. Hold on. Get onto the screen. Globe zombies infected with globitis. The cure is FE. Thank you very much for the super chat. Earth is Seriously Flat. Also, shout out to MC Universe Sacred Truth Seeker. If the in the Bhagavad Gita, how do you say that? Bhagavad Gita. Anybody? No? Fair enough. The most.
Come on, that's Spanish.
I'm not Spanish. Just because I take my kid to a few Spanish singing lessons, right? Suddenly I'm supposed to be able to understand. And anyway, the most ancient text on Earth, it states that the entire physical universe is Maya, or illusion, and so it is. Interesting. Thank you for the super chat, MC Universe Sacred Truth Seeker. To buy you enough time, Spurs. No, clearly not.
Earlier, I tried to share that I know the hypothesis for the heliocentric model. It's if bullshit, then space testicles.
If bullshit, then space testicle. No, because that would imply that if you have bullshit, then you're going to have a space testicle. Not necessarily true. If bullshit,
it's their hypothesis.
Yeah, but also if bullshit, then evolution.
Yeah.
Spurs, I think the question that you do need to ask them is, why would we bother answering your questions when you refuse to answer ours? And if we did answer the questions that you ask us, you wouldn't accept anything anyway, because you deny everything that we say because it doesn't suit your narrative, in the same way that they deny Einstein because he's an inconvenient part of physics for them. Gravity's not a force, it's an effect, right? If they're prepared to deny current science with Einstein and they're prepared to deny us on pretty much everything we say, what would be the point in us addressing their questions? They need to address our questions. That's what needs to happen.
The point in addressing, I got that answer. The point in addressing their questions is not for them, but it's for people that are watching that may be new. And if we go through their questions really quick and just pummel them, then that's pretty strong. So that's why I like to go through the questions.
Hopefully we will. When Spurs gets back, he'll stick it back up. But you're absolutely right there, Anthony. Andrews Ace, so shout out to you. Clipped out a little bit from Joe Rogan. And I don't know why it's now acceptable to be sat on a podcast, getting high as a kite, looking stoned out your brains. But that's obviously the times we live in. Nevertheless, he sat there with this black dude smoking a spliff, as you do on a podcast. And he's talking... what the hell was he talking about now? He's talking about going to the edge. And the black guy says something to the effect of, go to the end. If you believe the earth is flat, go to the end. That's what you need to do. Go and get me some photos of the end. And then Joe Rogan basically alludes to, oh, well, they have got pictures from the end. Now, I'm not saying that I buy this straw man argument he's holding up for the guy to attack, but that's what happened. So he says, oh, they have kind of got pictures of the end. And before he's missed a beat, right, the guy says, get me live video. So immediately, the standards instantly change. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that just typical? So he's asked for something. Someone says, oh, actually, they might be able to give you that. Well, I'm going to immediately reject it because it's not live video. It's like, well, what if Joe Rogan's reply was, well, actually, there's someone streaming from what they claim is the Edge right now. That ain't the Edge. There'd be some other objection, just like Anthony says, because they don't want to accept anything we've got to offer. They want to deny, and assert their heliocentric religion back at us and tell us we don't understand.
It's like Brenda yesterday on Arwin's. I mean, she knows that gravity's not a force, right? So she's got to try and explain Cavendish in the context of Einstein. And if you realise that Cavendish is debunked by Einstein, then there's no conversation to have. But because she holds on to gravity like a vehement little idiot, she has to try and then explain it using Einsteinian concepts, bending of space-time. And obviously, when you get to the point where you ask her, well, what was the cause of the balls apparently moving towards each other? And then she says, well, the distance. And then in Einstein, you've got to show that cause was the bending of space-time, the fabric of space-time, a mathematical concept that existed in Einstein's mind. Yet Brenda still thinks that caused the balls to move together, a concept, right? So she in the end, she did eventually get to the point where she could put it into Einsteinian lingo, but she still reverts back to it being a force. No matter how many times you say to her, it's not a force in Einstein, it's literally numbers on a piece of paper, it's visions. She just doesn't understand it. And I'm like, this is just ridiculous. There's no point conversing with them if they just deny everything that is about their model. Like, gravity doesn't do anything. It's just what you think you're looking at, and you think there's a phenomena there, but there isn't. But you think it is because you're seeing it on such a small scale, but there's nothing there. It's silly.
It's feeble minds. That's all it is. Feeble minds that have been indoctrinated from birth, and they can't get out of that. They're too far down the well. They're not able to think on their own. They need to be told what to think, how to think, when to think, and that's all they are.
Shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat, who says, Bible predicted end of de-spinning balls church. Thanks for the super chat, Earth is Seriously Flat.
Nathan, did Joe Rogan talk about the Antarctica Treaty?
I don't know. It's a 20-second clip trimmed out by Andrzej, so I don't actually watch Joe Rogan.
Okay, so can we just clarify this why in science? Does science answer why, John? Because I wasn't quite sure. You're saying it depends. Can you give an example of when science answers why?
I went off for a coffee. I'm sure he answered this already, didn't he?
Oh, no, because I just had to reboot, you see. Sorry. Did he give an example?
Sorry, I'm back.
Can we get back to your list, Spitters?
Yeah, let me put that back up.
So while you're loading that up, it's not answering what's and is's, it's answering how's and why's, even though I got that wrong earlier. I'm blaming my illness.
Remember, I said it depends on what type of why question it is, right?
Right. That's why I said I thought you answered it already, but maybe Spurs was rebooting when you said that. Okay, Spurs.
Yeah, depends on the why. No, he wasn't rebooting. He heard my answer.
No, I had to reboot. I just came off. I just called back.
Right, I've got you presented again, Spurs.
Next question.
Okay, so why the ancient Greeks, such as Pythagoras, Aristotle, Eratosthenes, and Aristarchus, believed the Earth was a sphere? Why?
Who cares? Who cares what they believe? Number one. And Eratosthenes, we already train wrecked him. He's done. The ancient. Who cares what people believe? It's what they can demonstrate or scientifically validate. Next question.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry for hogging the mic. Go ahead. I'm sure some people have other things. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is for everyone. I mean, if it's just
Spurs, let me say, obviously you weren't here when I said my answer. And what would be the point in us answering the questions that they're putting to us when they deny everything that we say in anyway, they dismiss everything that we say anyway, they ignore their own current science anyway in terms of Einstein, and they'll move the goalposts on us the minute we start giving them explanation. Nathan, do you want to tell them what happened with Joe Rogan?
John already answered that question, Anthony. He said that it's for the audience and the new members that are listening. If they see all these questions getting pummeled, that's devastating. And that's good for us.
That's what I was thinking, to answer them and show the ball earthers, look, this is what you believe and what's stopping you from seeing reality, right? Because it's
Well, we
based
can
on.
answer it for our own shits and giggles, but I don't think we should answer it for their purposes, Spurs. I think you should tell them to get lost, because they'll just dismiss it and deny it anyway, because they don't even support their own model. Einstein's their own model for gravity, and they don't even push that. They still go back to Newtonian. Well, what chance have you got of us explaining anything to them that they accept if they don't even accept Einstein?
No, I agree. I mean, it's not per se for George. George will never change his mind. Rumpus will never change his mind. But, there is hundreds of people who kind of look to George, who look to Rumpus, and if these questions are what they believe and John breaks them down, then it kind of, sways them, and they see that, well, it's just a belief. We've already been through, he believed the Earth was a sphere, you see? He didn't know it was.
Let's move on to the next one.
Imagine looking to George for guidance. Somebody who shaves live on a hangout because he can't answer questions about Coriolis. It's ridiculous.
I just want to echo Sleeping Warrior's sentiments, though, Spurs. What he's saying is, if this was a comment, let's phrase it in that setting, if this was a comment, there'd be no point at all responding to the person, because they're going to ignore everything you say. In this setting, totally different scenario, we can rattle our way through them and address each and every one of them, and that's part of the show, and it just demonstrates that there's none of these questions are going to leave us flustered in the slightest. Quite the contrary, it's leaving Anthony, whereas he's saying, I don't have to answer any of this nonsense, I've done it all before. But in the context of if it was just a comment going out to what we got 300 people watching, it's a different tale, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so I get what Anthony's saying. There's no point kind of answering for the guy, but I've brought them to hey, look, this is what they think. Let's go through them for the show, kind of thing, right?
Right. Let's go with this one. I like this one.
The other thing to add, though, Spurs, is, do you remember when I did my own observations and they all said, "Yeah, go back and get it from the beach, Riley"? And when I went back to get it from the beach, they just completely ignored it and dismissed it. And I'm like, took me ages to get that. I had to go and lie on the wet sand and all that, and you just don't even acknowledge it, and it proves that the Earth can't be a sphere.
They're suffering. It is suffering. I mean, again, I was just talking about George's behaviour.
My God, can we ever get this next question?
Just get on with the question.
Just get on with it. Yeah.
Okay, so they want to know what P and S shockwaves detected by seismology equipment tells us about the internal structure of the Earth. And dimensions of the surface of the Earth.
No, they're wrong all the time.
I don't think we should bother answering this. No,
not that one. Okay.
I'm just joking. This is one of Anthony's pet peeves. I'm just kidding.
They call the super deep borehole. They got all that wrong with the seismology. They also got all the seismology wrong for the fracking up in near Blackpool. That was all incorrect. So
P waves and S waves, right? The only thing you need to know is that the primary wave goes through liquids and rock, but the secondary wave doesn't go through liquids. What that tells you about the shape and the structure of the Earth is absolutely nothing, because at the end of the day, you're interpreting little squiggles on lines on graph paper or an equivalent that has been translated or interpreted by a computer to create a model. Right? You can't tell anything about what's underneath the Earth, because the most accurate information we've got is only 8 miles. And you beyond that, you know absolutely nothing. It's subject to interpretation, and it proves nothing.
Okay. Because there's so many. I mean, I think just try 10, 15 seconds if you can. So what powers the sun and the stars?
That's a good one, because we make no claim in that regard, but they do. It's another one where we should be writing this down and saying, excuse me, you already claim to know what powers the sun and stars, and the distances, and the sizes. So why are you asking us? Is this a burden of proof reversal fallacy? We make no claim in that regard. I might as well make it plain now. I have no idea what the sun or stars are. The heavens are beyond my knowledge. Oh, what's that you say? It's a burning ball of hydrogen in a sky vacuum? So they're making the claim. Yep. They've got a positive assertion in this regard. They need to prove their claim.
Okay. I mean, you want to go through more, John? Yes, or...
Yeah, not my show.
Same thing applies to the next question. No idea of the distance to the stars. Well, not only would I assert that they're making a positive assertion, they're fudging the figures with an R value when they measure the stars. So adjusting the angles, accounting for the Earth curvature when they presuppose it's a sphere. That's what they're doing when they measure the stars. How do you justify your R value that you've fudged into your star measurements? We're not doing that.
So they say, Nathan, why then, in that case, aircraft carrying ring laser gyros on board capable of detecting the rotation of the Earth?
So let me get it straight. The plane. Let me get it straight. The plane itself is totally unaffected by Earth rotating underneath it. Totally and utterly unaffected. But yet this ring laser gyro is apparently detecting the Earth moving underneath inside a plane. It's a total contradiction in terms.
You have to tell Nathan why the gyro is capable of detecting rotation. Why?
What rotation?
Sorry, why the
what
ring laser
rotation?
gyro?
Where was the rotation measured?
Hold on. That's not what he says. He's saying why is the ring laser gyro capable of detecting Earth rotation? It isn't. It's asserted that it's detecting Earth rotation. If it was rotating underneath the fixed frame of a ring laser gyroscope, it would also be rotating underneath aeroplanes and helicopters and drones. But that never happens. So if it's demonstrating two reference frames, i.e. a Coriolis effect, which is what is claimed the ring laser gyro does, fixed frame of reference for the ring laser gyro, Earth rotating underneath. Well, if Earth rotates underneath that gyro, it's going to rotate underneath everything else in the inertial reference frame. And we'd have shortened flight times from Charlotte, North Carolina, on approximately the same latitude line, to LA. It would take about an hour and a half, because Earth's rotating underneath that flight. Oh, right. Oh, it does still take 4.5 hours, though. Yeah, because Earth isn't rotating underneath.
Hold on, Anthony. You said flights would be shorter. So you're asking, you're saying then why then aren't the flights shorter? To response to that, yeah? Like,
no, I don't need an answer to that question. I know why. Earth is not rotating.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that if you were to have a discussion back and forth with that guy, you would say to him, well, why then aren't the flights shorter? And he wouldn't be able to answer. That's fine. Again, I'm not arguing.
No, you've missed the point, Spurs. If the ring laser gyro is an affirmative claim or proof in their eyes that Earth is rotating under the fixed frame of the gyro, then it must rotate underneath planes. There's no justifying why it doesn't by my side. There's a complete incorrect assertion. It would necessitate planes having fixed shortened durations if Earth is rotating under the fixed frame of a ring laser gyro or fibre optic gyro or any gyro. If the claim is Earth rotates underneath the gyro, it rotates under the gyro and under anything else that leaves the spinning frame of reference that is a non-inertial spinning ball Earth. We just never see that effect, ever, other than in the claim of the gyro itself, or a pendulum, or anything else that's not actually going to show a massive difference.
Okay.
But the planes don't.
Is my mic working?
It is, yes.
Yes, 10th, man. So
okay,
look, this is for...
hey, that wasn't for you to talk.
Okay.
I got a question for you. Why do we have airplanes?
Why do we have airplanes? For transport?
Why do we have airplanes? What's the purpose of airplanes?
For flight, to fly, to get to somewhere.
Oh, to get to somewhere. Well, if the Earth was rotating, everyone would have their own hot air balloon, and we would just go up, and the Earth would rotate, and the somewhere would come to us. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, end this nonsense then. We have airplanes because the Earth is not rotating.
On to the next question. We were. So, look.
Hang on.
Now,
hang on. Oh, my gosh. We have airplanes because the Earth is not rotating. We have to go there.
Okay.
Okay. Is that logical?
Cool. Moving on.
Moving on, yes. Right, now, we need to know why. Why geodetic surveyors keep claiming the Earth is an oblate spheroid. Why? Why, Randy?
Anyone,
why?
Anyone can make claims. Like I said before, you need to demonstrate it, right? Or scientifically validate. We don't care about claims.
No, but if they make a measurement and then it tells them it's an oblate spheroid, why are they saying that is what they want to know.
Do I have to repeat what I just said?
Okay.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, I mean, I
You just
accept it.
repeated the same thing. Do you want me to repeat the same answer?
Yes, please.
Please, yes, sorry.
We don't care about people's claims. We need demonstration or scientific validation.
I can give you an answer. When they built Lake Pontchartrain Bridge, right? 20-mile bridge, they included for curvature just 2 inches. They extended the length as the crow flies by just 2 inches. That isn't Earth curvatures.
Yeah.
Flat.
Okay. Remember, these are just why. Remember, they want to know why an observer on the equator during an equinox does not see the sun set at an angle of 19 degrees above the horizon. Why? They're like, why? They're pulling their hair out. They're losing sleep. They can't concentrate because they don't know why.
Is that actually the case?
Hold on. Let me go get my violin real quick.
Is that actually the case, though?
Well, they are pulling their hair out. What, are they pulling their hair out? I'm sure they're losing sleep over this.
No, not the supplementary
some of them are
nonsense.
shaving.
Oh, God.
Not
the supplementary crap you added on the end of the question. I'm not asking if they're losing sleep when you've got something highlighted. Is that
they're
actually
not
true?
24 hours. I mean, I've seen some of the ball earthers go at this for many, many hours. Yeah. I don't know if you know of Qantas. He's been online for many, many years, constantly online. But yeah.
Who?
I think it's a Qantas. I don't know if you know him.
Quartet, that knuckle-headed Quartus, the erectile dysfunction crowd. He's one of the clowns that went after Brian Mullen, right? He couldn't tie his shoes without a fleet of slobber nurses, this Quartus idiot.
I've got to do it to you now.
I don't care.
Stop. Just read the question again and tell me about where things are happening and what's happening, please. And then tell me if this is actually the case. Can you read it again, Spurs?
Right. They want to know why an observer on the equator during an equinox does not see the sun set at an angle 19 degrees above the horizon. Why?
Above the what?
The horizon.
What's that exactly? What's that?
The horizon is where the sky meets the land or the surface.
No, the sky doesn't meet the ground. That doesn't happen.
And what's the equator?
I was coming to that. Well done.
They want to know why. That's all they're interested in is why.
Why it doesn't set above a position that's not actual and moves. So does it always do that? So you're telling me that the horizon's going to be in the same position with the same atmospheric conditions everywhere on the equinox at the equator? That's what they're saying. The horizon's always going to be in the same. It's an actual fixed location, and you're going to get this accurate 19 degrees or not get this accurate 19 degrees. Correct?
Yeah, because this is based on the presupposition that the Earth is a ball and the horizon is a fixed location. So they want to know why then, in that case, the equinox does not.
That's not the That's not the definition of horizon.
Right.
It's not a set location. There's your problem.
Right. So we're figuring out why it's not 19 degrees above a not actual location. This is meaningless nonsense.
Well, they say that things disappear behind that, ships disappear behind that.
Yeah, I appreciate that while we are simultaneously being challenged to show idiot zealot globeheads the edge, which we don't actually assert here, they have an edge which they've reified into this position we've described as the horizon, a not actual location. Yeah, globehead zealots, listen up. Take me to the edge of your reified globe model. You got an edge you can show me? You think boats are going over it? This not actual location. The edge of your religion. So next time, if you're a flat earther, some dick asks you to show you the edge, say, I don't have an edge. But you do. You reify the horizon into the edge of a ball for boats to go over. You think a not actual location is the edge of your model, you fundy zealot.
Yes, that's quite right. and this is why I say it was laughable with George. He was presupposing till the cows come home. But one more presupposition, I suppose, if that's what we're looking at here. They want to know why. The northern celestial pole rotates counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, and the southern celestial pole rotates clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Why? Why does this happen, guys?
Why do the stars
I'll tell you why.
Hold on.
I'm going to tell you. This is that knucklehead friggin' Timmy clown's proof. Listen, counterclockwise and clockwise aren't directions. Okay? Idiots.
Just to answer the question, just to answer the question though. No, all of the stars rise in the east and set in the west, save for Polaris. Doesn't matter where you are, that's what they all do. So to assert they're moving in opposite directions when they're all rising in the east and setting in the west, save for Polaris, is a nonsense assertion where someone's demonstrating their total lack of understanding, not of a model, of reality. Because you don't need a model to observe what the stars do. That's what they do. You just have to look at them, amazingly.
But the bit they're missing is in north, when you're looking north, you're looking north. But in the south, they're looking south and seeing that. So it's the rotation of the person, from their perspective, that gives them their interpretation that there's an axis. But it's the person turning. All the stars rise due east and set due west.
Yeah, just tell them to turn around.
A lot of them are wise guys. They want to know why they don't understand.
Because they turned round.
I can't see how science can answer any of these questions because they are wise.
Science doesn't answer anything. It doesn't have lips. Why did you bypass the Mars atmosphere question?
Oh, okay. You want to tackle that one? Okay. Here we go. So, why the CO2 atmosphere of Mars appears to cling to the exterior of its spherical spinning surface without the need for a physical containment. This phenomena is observable on other planets too. So you tell me, well, not me, but yes, tell us why this happens. Why is this phenomena going on?
No, it doesn't happen. So they're asking us why we observe a violation of natural law through telescopes. No, we don't. That's part of their story. To assert that you've got a gas giant in a vacuum, which is what they have in their narrative, is absolutely absurd. So no, you don't have gas. Not forget about their version, which is in this phraseology, clinging to Mars, not dispersing into an ever-expanding sky vacuum. That's what their rhetoric's saying. Why is it that it's managing to not disperse into a sky vacuum? Well, why would you assert that you've got gas on the outside edge of a rock in the first place when you look at a light in the sky?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think they would go with something like.
Just go to the next question. It's over.
Okay.
It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. Let's put it just bluntly. You only have two choices. Either somebody's lying or the second law of thermodynamics is false.
Okay.
Your choice.
One question before I...
So look, I mean, again, a lot of them are just... I don't know if
Spurs.
anything that strikes you that you'd really want to...
Spurs, we're running out of time. Can you just read the next one?
That's what I was thinking, yeah. Is there anything that... I mean, have a look here. Okay, so how is it possible to measure the value of G, the universal gravitational constant, and in doing so, verify the theory of gravity?
There is no G. There is no theory of gravity. Next.
Burden of proof reversal fallacy, not our problem, their claim.
Okay, so they want to know why the sun and the moon do not change in angular size from rising to setting by a factor of 2 to 3, since they are local to the Earth, and no idea why the sun, according to the inverse law of radiation, is not 4 to 9 times brighter at midday than at sunset and sunrise when viewed from Australia. Why does this happen?
So why does that make the claim?
I got two questions. First, what the hell is the sun? And second, not changing angular size to not actual size?
I mean,
Who the
look,
hell-
again,
who the hell cares?
they could say just to make their argument. They could say an object. We see an object. We know an object. There's an object that does something. It doesn't change in angular size, right? They want to know why this object doesn't do or act accordingly with everything else that changes in angular size.
Yeah, the question they're actually asking is why does the not actual size of the sun not change its not actual size as it moves from its not actual position? That's what they're actually asking. It's absurd. It means they don't understand the difference between actual and angular sizes. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, then this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, including, I think there was one extra at the end from Earth is Seriously Flat. Indeed there was. Thank you very much indeed from Earth is Seriously Flat for smashing the super chat. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.